Hello, beautiful souls. I hope that you are doing well this week. So, if you remember me talking about last week, we are preparing to really open our intuition and speak with our guides and get more guidance, be able to communicate with our twin's higher self, with our higher self. But there's sort of a preparation for this. And so, the next lesson, I'm going to be going into guides, intuition, and we're going to do an energy session and meet our guides if you haven't already, whoever is guiding you right now, any guardian angels, meet your higher self, whoever wants to come to you. We're going to do that next week, and it's going to be a Reiki energy session. But for this week, and in our last stage to prepare for that, I want to talk about focus. Now, the first time that I ever contacted another being, at least knowingly, was because of focused inattention. And so focused inattention means that you are focused on something, but you're not deliberately thinking to yourself, I want to meet my guide. I want to talk to my twin's higher self. I want to do this. I want to do that. So you're not deliberately focusing on one thing in particular, but rather your mind is focused in a manner that you calm the monkey mind down. You calm all the worries down, all the planning, all the thoughts about the future, the past, because you're focused on something that's like not really that important, but because your mind is focused, then you're able to gain clarity and you're able to open up your intuition. So a lot of yogis and monks refer to meditation as a training. So they say it does open yourself up to guidance, but a lot of it is a training. And in this, just like you would train for a race or anything. So in this training, a piece of it is focus. And the reason we want to train ourselves during meditation, and what I'm going to talk about in a little bit, in just your everyday life, you want to train yourself to focus, because not only is it going to help you align with really where you're going, who you want to be, the thoughts that you want to think, the feelings that you want to have, it's going to help you focus to align with that, but it's going to help just gain awareness and insight into everything that takes away from your peace, takes away from your love. So what you're going to be able to find is once you start focusing, then you are going to be an observer, and you're going to be able to notice what it is within you that takes away, that kind of hinders your ability to tune in with your higher self, that takes away from your quality of life, maybe, that takes away from your ability to focus. So this could be worry, this could be, but a lot of times it's more specific than just worry. A lot of times it's like worrying about something in particular, so for me, I know I have this like in the back of my mind, there's never enough time. You don't have enough time to do that. You need to rush, so I have that. And when I'm able to focus on, let's say, a single mantra like the word peace, and I'm able to just breathe in peace, breathe out peace, then it's like, the little devil on your shoulder, like that visual. It's almost like I can hear that little devil saying, you don't have time for this. You have to think about this. You have to think about that. You have to think about this. And I can notice that, and I can gain awareness into the exact pieces in my belief system, just in the energy within me and around me that's taking away from the unconditional love I have, from the peace, from the contentment. So this week I gave a meditation as like a training, right? Like to help focus on your intention, focus on one thing at a time. And this is going to help with next week, like I said, opening up and speaking with our guides. So I want to briefly talk a little more about this focused inattention, and then we'll talk about what I've been guided to tell everybody to do this week. or not tell, ask, encourage, that's a better word. So the first time that I talked to another being, like I mentioned before, was because of focused inattention. And I had a question on my mind. I had a problem with my twin flame that I wanted to solve. I wanted to know the answer to. And I was driving to my friend's house, and she lives out of town, so she lives about an hour and a half away. And I was listening to a mantra. I forget which one. And I was just driving, and it was a highway, and it's straight, and I'm not paying attention. Well, I am paying, that sounds terrible. I am paying attention. But, it's just like a straight road. I don't have to be thinking about a whole lot and listening to this mantra. And I didn't have anything else in my mind rather than listening to the mantra, just kind of zoning out while I drove. And then that question that I had popped into my mind, and I got an answer. And so this was years ago, before I knew about archangels, or I was really just kind of, I didn't know about twin flame journey. I was really dipping my toe into this whole like spirituality pond, just dipping it in. That's why I was listening to a mantra. I just discovered those. And so I'm driving. I get this answer to my question. And I was like, oh, okay. That voice was not mine. And so I asked who it was, and I got an angel. The only archangel that I knew at that time was Archangel Michael. And so I asked, is this Archangel Michael? And I got a no, this is Gabriel. So again, this is coming, and once they said Gabriel, I'm like, oh yeah, I think I heard Archangel Gabriel. But that came not from my ego or past conditioning, that came from another voice, another being. And what had happened was I met Gabriel for the first time, and Gabriel is one of the main angels that I work with. I still talk to Gabriel. It's not that the connection was made at that point. I was just able to hear the guidance. And so I got exactly the guidance that I needed at that time. And it was because of focused inattention. So very often, whenever we want something really, really badly, then we trigger ourselves into almost blocking it. But if we can set the intention, but then almost like focus on something else, that's when we get the answers. So again, we're going to be going more into this next week, and the meditation for this week is a focused intention meditation. So it gives you a chance to set an intention, and then it gives you some practice focusing, and you might get some answers during the meditation or throughout your days. So what I encourage you all to do, and what I'm going to be doing myself, is I want you to just think of one like mantra or something, a word, like a phrase, a word that you can say to yourself that you can focus on this week. So this can be something like love, this can be something like peace, or it can be a sentence like, I release all negative thinking, or I release all anxiety or all fear. And what you want to do is return back to that. So you're practicing focusing on that one word or that one phrase. So that's something that you can do, and don't allow that other little voice to sway your focus. So if you are driving to work, maybe it's a 20-minute drive, set the intention for that entire 20 minutes. You're going to repeat the mantra love, or I am love, or I am only filled with love, whatever resonates with you. And say that for that whole 20 minutes. You're practicing focus, but you're also going to notice that some things try and creep in that take away from it. And every time that you do not feed into that little voice, what you are actually doing is helping dissolve some of that karma. You're helping dissolve some of that energy pattern. So that little voice that makes us feel bad is an energy pattern that's built up, which we've talked about before. So every time that you focus and you do not feed into it, then you're burning it up, you're dissolving it. And if you feed into it for a little bit and then you return yourself back to focus, then that is still dissolving it. As soon as you catch yourself, just return yourself back to focus. You can also try the focused inattention, where you just maybe play a mantra, play a song, and you focus on that, but you don't allow any one thought to stick with you. You know what I mean? Like if thoughts come in, allow them to come out and continue your focus on that one song or that mantra that you're listening to, or just even if you're driving without music on, like just pay attention to like your surroundings, being mindful as you drive, or if you're walking, being mindful as you walk, paying attention to the people and the birds. So you're focusing on the here and now, or you're focusing on a particular song or a particular mantra or affirmation. But you're still allowing your thoughts to flow, if that makes sense. Okay, so you're returning your focus, but it's a focused inattention. So you're allowing your thoughts to flow without paying them attention. And then you can even just notice the thoughts that came up, like, oh, that's a self-hatred thought. Oh, that's an anxiety thought. Oh, that's a resentful thought. Oh, wait, I think that might be guidance. So you might start to hear some of that guidance coming in with that focused inattention. Okay, so that is all for this brief little lesson. And the more you're able to focus on this aspect this week, the more, I'm not going to say the more success you're going to have with reaching your guides, but the quicker you'll be able to do it, because you will have been practicing this focused inattention piece of it. And that's how the divine speaks to us. Sometimes whenever we pray wholeheartedly, we'll get an answer. Or those of us who have been working on our intuition a lot will get answers. But what I noticed in my journey and how this still works for me is I ask a question and then boom, I get an immediate answer. And that's not the answer. So the way that I kind of explain it is if you ask a question, it's kind of like, in my mind, how I view it is this like super fast spinning wheel. Like da 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 da. And those are all like the answers that my ego is trying to give me. And what I do is I just continue to focus on my question and allow that to kind of play out, to run itself out. And then it calms down, and then there's this like quiet, soft voice, and it sounds like it's coming from a completely different part, which it is, a different part of like within my mind. And that is the intuition that I'm getting, or that's the person I'm trying to reach out to, or the guide that I'm trying to reach out to. But you need that focused inattention piece to kind of cut through all the mumbo jumbo. And so a lot of you have asked me, and not just you, but just people in general have asked me, like, how do I know what the right steps are? How do I know, like, we're trying to work on your intuition, but it's, you're second guessing yourself. Well, when you go through that back and forth, that's not going to be your intuition. Okay, so if you've been going through a lot of back and forth within your mind lately about your twin flame journey or about anything in your life, practice this focused inattention. Practice that mantra, practice being mindful and aware and recognizing how quickly your ego wants to answer you, but do not feed into it. It's just allowing it to play out. So rather than battling with the indecision, allow the indecision to battle itself out as you remain a quiet observer. And just see, and it would be a good week to journal as well. If any intuitions do pop up, you might want to like either put it on your phone or just have a little journal or something on you if you can, so that when you do get intuitions, you can write them down and you can remember them, because sometimes they are fleeting. So you'll get them, and if you don't immediately make note of them, it can be hard to remember unless you consciously are like, I'm going to remember this, I'm going to remember this. Okay. So that's all for today. Please enjoy the meditation, and next week we'll really be diving into an energy session, helping us reach our higher selves and our guides. And then you are also able to reach your twin's higher self and your twin's guides, which I have done. Like I'm talking with our guardian angels, and just it gives you a little more insight into where you're going on your journey, and where they're going on their journey, and where you're meant to go together on your journey. So we're starting to get deep into what your dharma is, and if you're with your twin, or if you're wanting to be with your twin, what your joint dharma will be. Okay, I'm wishing you a beautiful week. Love and light.